Welcome back to episode 10 of Little Rock Ridge. With only a few episodes left, we're quickly approaching the end of this series, and hasn't it flown by? If you've enjoyed this collab, it would mean the world to me if you thought about subscribing. A small gesture on your part goes a long way in supporting me and the channel, allowing me to continue creating Planet Coaster content for you to consume. Also, if you haven't already done so, please go and support our guests from the series, whether it be on YouTube, Twitch, or even just upvoting their builds on the workshop. It all helps. Our guest this week once again barely needs any introduction. Xellixor is none other than Johnny 5 Alive's partner in crime running Channel 5 Gaming, which is one of, if not the biggest Planet Coaster community, with over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, a Discord with over 5,000 members, and 1.4k followers on Twitch. When I asked Zell whether he wanted a shop or flat ride, he threw caution to the wind as he asked for both. That's right, this madman went all out with a hat shop, fries shop, and a skin for the Kickflip. Over to the man himself to present his creation.
Hey yo everybody, Xellixor here, and yes, we are looking at the Kickin' Mare, a kickflip that Moomin gave me, and a shop that needed to be attached to that. Moomin contacted me, because he wanted to make this fun Western build that didn't include any DLC or TMTK. And actually it was quite a challenge, because normally I'm not that much into Western builds. Actually, I do a lot of fantasy stuff and just weird stuff a lot of the time. So this was definitely the challenge. And instead of just doing the shop, Moomin gave me the option to also include a kickflip, so that's what I did. I actually started out with some inspiration from ArtStation, where I found some Western building that I really liked. I also, before I say anything else, have to give the biggest shout out in the world to Farana, because she really helped me with this build. You can basically say that the building on the left is mostly, her doing. All the credit goes to her for that one. I made one, and it was way too big, and she helped me change it around. I just was lost in what I was doing. I just had tunnel vision. She kind of, pushed everything into the right direction. So, Fua, biggest thanks to you. Sometimes you just get tunnel vision in Playco and you want it to work, and it just didn't work. So this little building on the left with the shops in it is now actually the right size. It got just way out of hand with whatever I was building. I probably wouldn't really have fit in the park anyway. So that was great. So it started with that, the shape of the building, and I knew I wanted the queue for the kickflip on the left of the building, looping around to the back, and then I wasn't really sure what I was going to do for the kickflip. Actually, I had in mind, I wanted a balloon shop on the outside. So now in the shop there's a Hat's Fantastic, and there is a Monsieur Friet on the right side of the building on the outside. Actually, I wanted a balloon shop there, and I had this whole idea a bit with the kickflip sort of powering a machine that would blow up the balloons. In the end, it all got a bit too steampunkish, and so I had to scrap that entire idea. I was working on it, but it just became a bit too steampunkish. So scrapped that, and I thought, I don't know if there's a church in this town already, but it's Western. We're gonna need a church. I sort of made a church. It's open, of course, on the top, so the kickflip can go through. And it's a very simple building with not much to see on the inside besides all the neon arrows that are going on in there. But I thought just a nice basic church in some dusty town, that would fit pretty well. What else did I do? So mostly the influences were just from ArtStation for the layout of the building. The church, Fua sent me a picture of a church, that's how it went. And then I sort of, started sculpting this with having that as a reference in some way. It doesn't look like it at all, but that was a really broken down church. So I made it a bit more alive and not broken down, since this is a town that is still being used. After that, I got a crazy idea with some telephone lines. I don't know, probably doesn't really fit into the Western. I don't know what they had back then in the day, but hey, we've got some telephone lines. which I thought was fun, and it broke up the horizon a little bit. Then I just started adding some stuff in front, some, you know, trees, bushes, cacti, and then I did the inside of the shop, just cluttered it up with all kinds of hats, and it's a hat fantastic shop after all. Put some lights in there, all the kind of good stuff, some luggage, and yeah, just try to make it work, and just looped the cube back around and into the building. Then I found the water tower. I was like, perfect, this is gonna fit. It breaks up this in between the houses a bit, makes it seem like it's connecting up, and yeah, that's sort of wrapped up the build there. And then I called the Kickflip the Kickin' Mare because I thought it was a nice name, and it also goes with the sign a bit with the cowboy on the back of the horse. Yeah, it was kind of hard to work with without DLC, or TMTK is not that much of an issue, but without the DLC I think was the biggest issue for me personally. And it's funny because this started, I think, as something for console players since they didn't have DLC, and I think by now they have all the DLC that we have, except for like a couple. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, it was really hard to do for me because I was using a piece and I hadn't set the scenery pieces to main game only, and of course I was using pieces that I couldn't use. So, you know, yeah, that was kind of a bit of a hassle, but I think it turned out pretty well, and I'm really happy with it. I maybe could have done a little bit more on the church, but, you know, I also thought, you know, it's just a wooden building in a dusty western city. It doesn't need that much. It's the elevation and the shape of the building, I think, say enough for this little western church. Yeah, that's about it. It was fun working on it. Nice challenge. It's always nice to you know, get a challenge. So yeah, thanks Moomin. I hope the park is looking great. I haven't seen it yet at the moment of this recording, the whole finished park, so that's great. I can't wait to see what it's gonna look like in the end, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So this was the Kickin' Mare Western build for Moomin Little Socks, Little Rock Ridge. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you in the next one.
These builds sit perfectly on Little Rock Ridge's main street, and are, as always, a wonderful addition to the park. With Zell's creation in position, there is just one more space to fill on this side. I wanted to avoid adding another tall building, else the street might start feeling claustrophobic. I decided to create a nice little western scene, either to be populated by animatronics, or maybe some severely underpaid actors pretending they like children once every hour. Once again, wanting to keep those cohesive vibes going, I extended Xellixor's wonderful telegraph poles, and then struggled for far too long making the ropes line up. I used our usual castle roof pieces to create a nice plaza and sunk it just below the path. This is an easy way to create nice neat edges, however you will get some Z fighting issues if you zoom out too much. I copied our lovely water cart from episode 7 and placed it on the corner. I placed a well, and then used rocks and shrubbery to blend it with the ground. Bad guys always have the higher ground when it comes to theatrics, so I placed a bell tower and decided to wrap it in planks. As usual, I recoloured and flipped a few for variation. I placed our bad guy on the top and then our hero down on the ground at guest height. I surrounded him with crates and barrels for some well-needed cover. To protect our actors from having to get too close to the common folk, I added some fencing around the area using the same fence from Zell's build. height variations are super important in a theme park. We have our hero on ground level, our villain up top, and then this wooden shelter as a median. Time for that all-important clutter. We all know the phrase less is more, but sometimes more is more. Moving to the other side of Main Street, I always wanted to keep this space open to keep a clear view of Nerd Chacho's incredible coaster elements. What's a Main Street without some outdoor seating? After placing down some pathing, I popped down a bunch of picnic benches and then covered the whole thing with roof pieces. I sure do love some coverage. I created yet another pergola using beams and pillars. I covered the structure with my absolute favourite ivy piece. I knew I wanted to add some ivy to the house, but not this weak ass 2D ivy To finish it off, I hung some lovely festoon. Finally, I recoloured all of our flat roof pieces to match the pieces out by the entrance. This also gives you an opportunity to see how many buildings this plaza is separated into for some strange reason. And just like that, another episode comes to an end. Join me next week as our third secret guest gives Little Rock Ridge its second coaster. What will the coaster be, and who is the secret guest? It's SC Reconcile. See you then. Say goodbye, Xellixor.
Bye now.